Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jack.
I'm Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. It's been a minute. We've been on a break for hiatus for a minute, taking a little bit of a break. But now we're here back for Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight, season 14. They're back at Boston. Man, I am ready. I'm excited. They have a great cast here. And if you're like me, I'm tired because we watched 3 hours and only got one wedding. So I don't know why they do this. I have my rant I do each and every year about this. 3 hours, one wedding. We already had a backdrop of people. We already had that. They could have gave us everything here. But I guess we'll get the rest of the weddings next week. And let's get started.
Okay, so just as a preview, I'll just do it up front because I did this up front myself. So the 5 couples we have Katina and Olajuwon. We have Noi and Steve. We have Jasmina and Michael. We have Alyssa and Chris. And then we have Lindsey and Mark. Those are our couples. And so that's where we start. First up, who is also where we end up, is Lindsey and Mark. They talk about a lot of the stuff that they talked about in the preview, why they matched them up, about them both being high energy and outgoing and deeply caring. And so we see each person in the pairing talk to their family or friends about the fact that they're getting married. So we see Mark going to his best friend John's house, and he was like, his friend John is more practical and realistic than him, and so he's not really sure how he's going to take it. Amanda's there, who's John's wife, and then Lee, who is John's father. And I thought it was interesting anyway. I'm like, oh, it's all these friends. Where's his family? Which we get into. He gets into that, but he tells them I'm getting married in 2 weeks. And his friend John actually hugs him. They're actually excited for him. They're happy for him.
I think they're excited for him. I think one of the reasons they're excited for him is because, look, this is the second time on the show. If you have not known and you don't know, this is the second time. This is the second time he applied for Married at First Sight. He really wants to be married. He's had, relationships up and down. And Mark is a fun-loving guy, but he really wants the desire to be married because, like I said, in his vignette or his past backstory, a lot of things that happened to him in his life. 2019 was rough for him. He went through a lot of issues and a lot of situations. So now we'll get into that, but he's excited because, look, this is my friend who really, really want to get married, and it's about time.
Yeah. Oh, Mark the Shark, who goes after what he wants, and he knows what he likes. And he says, he thinks his seriousness and really wanting to get married is what scared people off. Real quick, so he's got 3 cats. Every girl he's ever messed with was allergic to cats, so that was a turn off too. But we find out that he said, I really had a really good life overall. But in 2019, everything changed. His dad got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He had it in the lungs, the liver, the pancreas, the esophagus. Man, I don't know which one of those was the original cancer, but that's a lot of spread. And so he passed in 5 weeks. He said his grandmother's 96. She's in a nursing home. She's got dementia. She doesn't hardly know who he is. And then his mom is in a rehab facility because she can't take care of herself. And she doesn't make good decisions. And so he's been physically alone on the holidays. And that explains why his friends are there. His friend and his parents are there as opposed to his family, because he really doesn't have any family to be there. We find out later that Mark's the only child as well. So he doesn't have any siblings. And so that's why he's there.
Yeah, I want to add to that real quick because, one thing about his mom, he wanted his mom to be there. She could be there, but he didn't want her to be there because she's a shell of herself. And he didn't want with her physical limitations, he didn't want her to be there. But him and his mother are really good friends, and he speaks to her very often. And he talks to her, and he takes care of her a lot. And so we see that as well when he got close to the wedding day. I think an hour before the wedding, he spoke to his mother. Her name is Rose, and I think that was one of the things his friends asked, like, "Did you tell your mother?" And he was like, "Yo, she was the first one I told. I told her before I told you guys. So I wanted her to know because it's really meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to her as well."
Yeah, I was gonna say that. He said he talked to his mom before he talked to them. Um, and so that was one of the things that they talked about. I was like, well, whoever it is that you're marrying, he's like, you have to tell them the situation with your mom. He's, a caretaker for his mom. And his friend John's concern is that he's really private, and he has to care for his mom more than he admits. And so he's like, I don't know if he's actually gonna say that or tell it or whatever, but he said that's important for him to reveal. And the concern is, what if the woman he's with doesn't feel like dealing with it? It's like, you got a sick parent, that's a lot of work. I don't feel like doing it. So
But I mean, that is a lot of work, though. I mean, it's not like when you're already established, but this is a relationship he's getting into, and she may not. I mean, this is a something that really has to cross his mind. This may be a situation that could be detrimental to their relationship. She may not say. She may say, I didn't sign up for a sick mother-in-law, or I did not sign up for a grandmother who is 90-some years old, and I didn't sign up for all your time is with them and not with me. So you may have somebody like that. I don't think she's going to be that way. She is in healthcare. She is a nurse, so I don't think she'll have that compassion that he needs for that situation to be able to take care of his family. But he has to have a balance here. He got to make sure that it's not all his family and not her.
right. So next we go to Lindsey, and Lindsey talks to her dad, Greg and Philip. And I thought it was interesting when she sat down with them, like she had not bubble gum, a bubble gun.
A bubble gun.
That didn't come out right. I'm congested too, so but anyway. Um she had a bubble gun and she gave, to them, and she was like, they told me, they asked me what would I like to go out to when I get if I get picked, if I get married. I said I absolutely like to go out to Bubbles, and so I bought these guns already because I'm getting married in 2 weeks. And Dad and Philip are like, "Oh wow, okay, okay."
Yeah, I mean, they were surprised. They was excited for her, happy for her, that she was getting married. We always, and we to find out later, she has a better relationship with her dad and her brother than she do her mom. She has a lot of mother issues. Her mother is one that is not trustworthy. Her mother has seemed like she's really, really sneaky. Never been a mother to her, and so Lindsey has her dad and her brother, and they're really close. So I think with her, she needs that compassion. She needs somebody like Mark to be with her. I think she may need that family, that close-knit family, to make her even better in life. But yeah, her and her mom are not good.
Right. Because we find out that her mom and dad, they split 4 years ago. And ever since then, she's had a really rough relationship with her mom. She said she hasn't seen her in 3 years. And she said, it's not how she's pictured it, but her getting married at first sight and being in the place where she is with her mom, but it is what it is. She's got 2 cats, Ben and Jerry. How creative is that? Name them after ice cream.
She likes the ice cream, man. She is a firecracker. She likes ice cream, so that's 5 cats.
They talk about that later, but the one thing is going back to like the matching special. So Lindsey's the wild card. She's a whole lot. She's very talkative, just into everything. And but she also says I'm a calm type of person. I go to bed at 9:30. I don't do a lot of caffeine because I don't know how I don't like how it makes you feel. I do like rules. And her thing is dating's been hard for her. She said a year ago she was planning a wedding with someone she was in a long-term relationship with. And homie called it off 5 days before the nuptials.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker. I mean,
that's more than a heartbreaker. I'm gonna hurt you.
No, look, we have 2 women here who've been almost down the aisle, and they get it called off. We'll talk about the other one later, but 5 days beforehand, he just didn't. To me, somebody got cold feet. He saw something that he didn't want to be with her. I mean, you figure she put money in this dress. I think that is a dress that she's trying to sell. She's trying to sell a dress on GoFundMe. If you go look at a Reddit, there was a point in there where she sold that dress on Reddit for some money. Well, not Reddit, on GoFundMe for some money. I think she got like $4 or $5 grand for it. But she did sell that dress for the guy who left her at the altar for 5 days. That is cruddy though. That's a heartbreaker. That's real cruddy. You got your family out there, invitations out there. The preacher's already paid for. The church is really warm. You got the cake's probably halfway baked or on the way to you. All this stuff, all the money that you spent out, that you kicked out, and he left you at the altar for 5 days.
And not even that so much. The worst part is, like, it's not like we met each other 3 months ago. She said they were in a long-term relationship, and you wait for 5 days before the wedding.
Yeah. Again, when somebody does that, is either somebody else or they realize and they recognize, you know what, this relationship's not going to work, and I've been forced into it. And when you have somebody that close,
it's been not working. Yeah.
It's been not working. It's been not working since day. I mean, when you asked her to marry you, you just didn't think it would get this far, and you jumped into a decision, and now you went back out of it and didn't know how to get out of it, so you just call it off.
Right. But anyway, so her dad says that whoever deals with Lindsey is going to have a lot of patience. He actually said the patience of a saint because she's got a strong personality.
If you just watch this episode, and if you watched, I don't want to call it unfiltered anymore because it's not unfiltered, After Party with Keisha Knight Pulliam, Lindsey talks all the time.
It irritated me so bad. It bothered me so bad. I was like, sis, you ain't got to say something about everything. Just sit there.
She talks all the time, and she rubs some people the wrong way because she talks all the time. You know, and what she says, she has no filter. So whatever comes to her mind, it comes out, and it comes out sometimes wrong to people and affects people the wrong way. I mean, we saw on After Party that Alyssa, one of the wives, had blocked her by the first night. That she got blocked by the first night because of her comments and the way that she carries herself and the way that she says things. So I can see Lindsey rubbing some of the ladies the wrong way quickly, or even rubbing Mark the wrong way quickly, because I don't think she's gonna have a filter. I don't think he's gonna have a filter, and I think these two right here are gonna bump heads a little bit. We'll see how it goes, but Lindsey, Dad is definitely correct. There's gonna be somebody who has to be a saint or has a lot of patience to put up with her because she doesn't have a filter.
Yeah. I think they're very similar. That's why they said they matched them, but she is way more than him, because we'll talk about that later. Or we can talk about it now.
Yeah, let's get into it now, man. Let's get into it now.
So they are the one couple that got married. They are the one couple that got married on the episode. And first of all, on the way there, she's drinking all the Dom Perignon. She is slizzard. She's liquored up. She said on the after party that, you know, she had been drinking. It was just champagne, but she had been through like 2 bottles. She was sucking it down. And so on the way there, she had already told us before she doesn't do caffeine. She had a bottle of what looked like soda on the way. She's burping. Let me get this last burp out before I turn into a lady. And meanwhile, Mark is at the altar just awaiting. Just awaiting.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's one of those where I thought we almost had a Virginia there. You know, now Virginia was always drinking prior to her wedding, but, you know, Lindsey said she's not a drunk. She said she doesn't drink that much. This is one of the occasions that she want to drink. But I mean, she was all out there. She liked to have fun, and she still reminded me of a college girl. You know, and that she hasn't really grown up yet. That she's still a party go college girl, and whatever comes to her mind is what she does. Even to the part when the producers asked her, did she have her vows, and she just took both her arms out of her sleeves, and you almost saw her tatas, right? Her breast. But she said she had pasties on.
Which wasn't the first time she did it, because she did it when she was trying the dress on too.
Yeah. So she's just a free spirit. So she just let them loose. You know, we saw that with Beth. If you remember the Charlotte episode when she came out to Jamie after the honeymoon, she was one also who just dropped everything, whether the cameras were there or not. So she free spirited. And I think her free, again, her
say it like you want to.
Huh?
Say it like you want to. You know what you call it.
But she got nude. She got naked.
Drop the trowel.
She dropped. Hold up, man. She dropped trowel. Right. She dropped everything and she just dropped it. Right. So again, she dropped trowel. So again, she is free spirited, and I think Mark is also free spirited. But to me, there's gonna be some kind of both of them can't be. Somebody has to be able to reel somebody else in because they both can't be out there and off the wall and off cuff. Somebody has to be the mature one in the relationship, and we'll see who it is. One thing I did like about when they met and when they got married, when they had the conversation, when they conversed afterwards, one thing that was good, they both agreed they didn't care about the money situation. We saw that in a lot of relationships. They didn't care about who made what. And Mark was like, well, I could be a home and stay home dad. She's like, well, that's fine. Don't expect me to cook and do all this other stuff if you're a stay at home dad. And I thought that conversation was pretty good to have. I mean, not saying that he would stay at home and do that, but it was a good conversation for them to have early and a conversation for them to show on TV. You know, even for the fact that Mark said, I'm changing my hours so I can spend more time with my wife. And I think that really won Lindsey over because she said the relationship she had, there was a guy who wouldn't even change 1 hour to be with her or spend time with her. So she's really appreciative right now about what things that Mark is doing for her. And I can see them kind of compromising in that way as long as he continue to be the husband and know how to navigate her emotions and navigates the way she does things. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah. But she was all over the place. She really was all over the place. She asked him about the cats. They talked about before that they talked about a monkey, how he's Mark the shark. She doesn't like sharks, and she's stretched out on the park bench. And I know how to open a bottle with a knife. Does anybody have a knife? And he was like, whew, wow.
He said it. She's a little too much. And, you know, they were asked why was she stressed out on a park bench. She said she was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, had been a long day, production, and she just wanted to lay down and eat and take a nap and rest a little bit. So she was physically tired.
Yeah, but the one thing she did say, she told the ladies, and she kept saying it. She said the one thing, she said, I wasn't specific about the looks that I wanted. She said, I just wanted no belly and no baby teeth. And so they checked each other's teeth out at the altar. Okay. And it met each other's approval, both of their teeth, because he said he's a teeth person too. I'm a teeth person too. I am.
Well, my teeth are all there, see? I smile. I have all
it
my
ain't
teeth.
Just about them being all there. They got to be mostly straight.
They're straight. They're straight. I'm 43 and never had a cavity, so they're good.
Shade.
So, I'm not. It's not no shade. I mean, I take care of mine. I'm just good.
And I excuse gaps because I got a gap. See, he got a gap too. Mine's bigger, but anyway.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't even want to. I guess that's all I really want to say about them, huh? You want to say? Oh, the one thing I do want to say, during the wedding, she mentioned the fact that they did a crown. They did the crown wreath.
Yes.
She said, have you ever seen my big fat Greek wedding? Well, you should. That's my life. And she said she grew up Greek Orthodox. So the brother Philip came up and did a whole crown wreath thing. And it's a wreath with a bow and a single cord. And he crosses over their heads and then put it on top of their heads.
I'm not Greek and none of that, but to me, it seemed like he was making it up as he went along.
Who, the brother?
Yeah, it seems like if you watch it again, it looked like he was making it up as he went along. I'm just saying, because she said that's what it looked like to me. So I don't know. Please don't.
It probably looks like that because you never seen it before.
Right.
I'm not saying I have. I'm just saying.
Messages, anything, but to me, it seemed like he was just making it up as they went along. But nonetheless, I digress.
But it just goes to kind of like in the last couple of seasons where we see cultural notes in the wedding ceremonies. We've been seeing that a little bit more. Yeah. Like we saw Bow and Johnny, Lord have mercy, poor waste of a tea ceremony. But anyway. Let's see. So is that it? We done with them?
Yeah, we're done with them until we get. Well, we can talk about a little bit about the bachelor party because Mark had a good time at the bachelor party. I
Yeah.
mean, Mark enjoyed himself at the bachelor party. His last night of being quote unquote single. The one stripper that they had. We sat there and we talked about this. Look, Married at First Sight can spend a budget on $9,000 for dresses and all this. You could at least, right? Could at least have more than one stripper at the party. They could have got these guys multiple strippers. If that's what you're gonna do, each his own. I'm not condoning stripping, whatever you like to do. But the one lady they had that was on the same guy all night long, they could have got at least more than one. Come on, don't cut the budget there. Help them brothers out. That's all I'm saying.
And
That's
she
all
won't the most glowing representation either.
She wasn't no representation at all. But again, Mark had a good time. He enjoyed himself. So did Olajuwon. He really enjoyed himself.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to get to that. But yeah, Rasta Pablo 428. Yeah, we've seen them jump the broom. We've seen them. They did the tea ceremony. Bow and Johnny. We've seen them. I think they did the Jewish thing where they stepped on the glass. Didn't they do that?
Yeah, sure. We saw unicycles. We saw people coming.
I'm talking about cultural notes.
That was a cultural note for
them. But yeah, so yeah, we've been seeing quite a bit of that. But anyway, so next we got, since you brought him up, Olajuwon. I'm sorry, no, Olajuwon Dickerson.
No, Olajuwon Isaac, because he has two personas.
Man,
he has an alter ego already.
Listen, don't y'all listen. I'm gonna tell y'all in advance. Don't y'all front on Olajuwon, cause I know y'all used to go out to the club and did not use your real name. I know I didn't.
I know, Jaquisha.
Don't now. Why would you say it though? Why would you give it away?
I don't know. You gave me the right name, so I have no problem with that. We good.
I didn't meet you in the club, boy.
Even if you had met me in the club, you would have gave me the right name.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, you would. But let's
I would have gave you the right name, but you would have been like that one person, like I didn't know how to pronounce it. So but anyway, so Katina and Olajuwon. It again, like Mark and Lindsey are kind of like two peas in a pod. Katina and Olajuwon are two peas in a pod too. He's an ex-Playboy party guy. I'm not too sure he's got the party out of him based on the Bachelor Party. And then there's Katina, who's a party girl. You know, she's used to hanging out and drinking with her friends and stuff. So supposedly they matched them because they're both ready to get rid of their party roots. They're ready for quiet dinners and cuddling at home, and they got a mutual desire to plant roots. We shall see.
Yeah, Olajuwon to talk to his friend. Let's get with that. I really want to get to that part when he talked to his friend. We get to Katina in a minute because Olajuwon said some things that gave me some red flags. Olajuwon said some things that really sparked.
Oh, can we work up to that? Oh yeah, let's work. Yes, let's work up to that because I was like, bro, where is this coming from? What?
Yeah, where is this coming from?
He sits and he talks. He talks to his former coach. He talks to his sister-in-law Susan, his friend Kevin, his friend Rashid, and I forgot what his brother's name. Oh, his brother Sean.
Yeah.
His brother Sean, and so Rashid is talking about how they talk about getting married, and Olajuwon was like, how was it when you met your wife or whatever? And Rashid was like, when I met my wife, I wasn't looking for a wife, but I knew that after I met her, I was like, this is somebody I want to be in my life. And he was like, and how did that make you feel? He was like, oh, I was happy as heck. And Olajuwon was like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna feel because I'm getting married in 2 weeks. And they were like, oh.
Right. Everybody was excited for him, happy for him, but yet they still had some concern.
Yeah, because just like somebody said in the comments too, and he said it himself, he's played girls. He had an alternate persona when he was out doing his thing. He was never Olajuwon. His name was Isaac. He said, well, I wasn't lying. My middle name is Isaac. But that's how I presented myself as Isaac. And I did what it did. I messed with this girl. I messed with that girl. I did this. I did that. And so, he's cheated before. That's a concern when it comes to Katina. And his family is like, his brother's like, are you out of your mind? Because Olajuwon says it's been a long time since I've been in a true relationship. In the last 2 years, he's been working on himself. He's cheated in the past. He wasn't truthful. Isaac is the immature him. That thought about others before. He thought about himself before others, but now he switched that. And so, he talks about how at 16 he lost his dad. So his dad didn't see him graduate. The only one of his siblings that his dad didn't see graduate. His parents never married. His mom worked hard to get them out of the ghetto. She was a single parent, she sacrificed a lot. And so he wants his kids to grow up in a household that he didn't grow up in, with a mom and a dad that's married in love. And that goes to in the matching special, he talked about how traditional he is. I want a woman that when I come home, she got a plate, she got food cooked and she got a plate ready for me. And I'm like, bro, you is really trying to do something you ain't never seen before. Do you know it's 2022?
Yeah, because they didn't match him with that woman. All right. I know what he wants, but they didn't match him with that woman. That's not the woman that's not the woman that he think he's gonna get. That she said she rather go out and eat. She rather go out and eat. She can cook, but she rather go out and eat. And I think his viewpoints or what he wants in life, in his marriage, I think is a little too far fetched. Now, of course, you want a home cooked meal, but brother, if she worked all day and you work all day, you get home first. Guess what you should be doing? You should be cooking the meal.
Cook, bruh.
You should cook. Or guess what you guys can do together? Plan and prep the night before because you have late days. So that I think, people want traditional marriages and some people still have it. That's fine. It's all good. But when you're dealing with modern people, he's 30-some years old and she's 30-some years old and she has a career, you're probably not going to get that. And I wanted to, if you're a little bit older, yes. But at this age, he's not going to get that. To me, that's a red flag. He said she better do it. It wasn't like she had a choice. The way he was saying it was like, this is going to happen or it's a deal breaker for me. That is a major deal breaker. Well, bro, if your marriage is going to be that, you're going to have a deal. That's going to be a deal breaker early in your marriage because she doesn't cook for you. You're going to have problems and they won't last because he has to be able to compromise on that situation, understanding her career, understanding that there are, in some relationships, they can't be determined roles, right? They can't be determined roles where she cook, clean, you take out the trash. That doesn't work in some relationships. Now, if it works in yours, that's fine. But I don't see that working with Katina. All right. We're just going off the show. I don't see that working with Katina the way that he wants things to be. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's what kind of says to me why he's been single too. I know he's a playboy, but at the same time, it's like, I know I could imagine ladies like, oh, you a playboy, you a player, but you want me to be in the house, barefoot and pregnant, cooking the food and stuff. Like, that's not gonna work. Why you out there doing your thing? No. So yeah, his family was like, yeah, you what the sister-in-law in her vignette was like, yeah, I think basically Olajuwon needs a reality check. Yeah, whoever gets with him is going to have patience and bear with him. But then she also said ignore him and work with him. He's going to need a special person to balance him because right. I mean, it can work. It's just expecting the 1940s wife in 2022. Well, they got married in 2021. You're not hardly gonna say that. You're not hardly gonna see that because we both work. The roles in a household are so different, and yeah,
Shoot, if that's the case, he wants to go back to 1940. They need to get the bed like I Love Lucy and all those, and Dick Van Dyke. They need to get the one bed. Everybody had a twin bed, and you don't roll over. But that's not gonna. Again, that's not gonna happen. He has some delusional terms of what he want marriage to be, or views of what he want marriage to be. Again, those are conversations that him and Katina are gonna have to have. And those can't be deal breakers. If, like I said a few minutes ago, if that's a deal breaker for your marriage, don't even get married, because guess what? There's gonna be a day that she doesn't cook dinner. Matter of fact, you don't even know her schedule as of yet. She may get home later than you, right? You may have a job where you get home early. So it's there's a lot of different variables that can go into this before he even knows what's going on. To make it to say it's a deal maker, it's kind of insensitive and kind of shows his immaturity when he's making those comments. That's an immature comment.
What immature? I'm gonna say it's immature, but it's also what's the word I want to say? It's your imagination. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, it's an ideal. It's something you idealize. You know what I'm saying? This is what it just don't happen like that. You're gonna get your feelings hurt, bro. Real bad.
Yeah. Bro gonna say he can get his feelings hurt as soon as they come back off the honeymoon when she doesn't cook the first night. Right?
Or maybe she will cook, but I ain't gonna cook every night.
I ain't cook every night.
And maybe the first night I cook is gonna be hamburger helper.
Right. Because when she talked about cooking, she didn't say she cooks a lot. That's why she goes out. Remember, she's a vlogger, and she goes out to different restaurants, and she views different restaurants and review different restaurants. So she has a system or place that she likes to go to. She's not a cooker. Put it that way. She said she doesn't cook much. Right. She can, but she doesn't like to. So.
Right. So next we see Katina meet with her friends Kara, Francesca, and Shanella. And like she barely sits at the table. She's like, y'all, I'm getting married in 2 weeks. And they were like, oh, yes. Yes. She said she's tired of the dating scene. She's ready to Netflix and chill. And so as has been stated on social media in y'all's comments right now. So they matched the cheater with the cheated on. Because Katina talked about how, she's been cheated on multiple times. She said, so one relationship, she dated a guy for 2 weeks straight, and he had a girlfriend, and she called Katina, was like, you're dating my boyfriend. What?
Yeah. Another one, she said she went on Facebook and she realized this guy had a girl for 9 years.
Right.
They were together for 9 years. I think that was on the after party when she spoke of that. So to me, I don't think this is, just in my opinion, why would you match somebody who's a cheater, right? With somebody who's been cheated on, knowing that her walls are already going to be up in this relationship because she's been cheated on. Knowing that the guy that she's going to be with, Olajuwon, that whatever you say, you like him, his body, he ham's ugly, whatever the case may be.
He's not ham's ugly. That's not the one. Don't do it.
To her, he's going to be attractive, and so her insecurity is already going to be there because she's going to marry an attractive man. So the first woman who comes up and say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up?" He gives a little bit of attention to, not much, just shows some kind of kindness with. She's going to be insecure in a situation, thinking that person is cheating or he's going to be cheating. I see this. I think it's going to happen. I think she's going to accuse him of cheating somewhere in the relationship because I don't think she's healed from all the cheating that she's been on. From all the cheating that she's seen, all the time that she's been cheated on. I don't think that is healed. I don't think that is that wound has been healed up. And there's going to be a time in this relationship where she is going to bring that up. Just my opinion.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to say is I understand. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I understand why they matched them up. But I think I would have liked, and maybe this is the case, some more time in Olajuwon being outside of his Playboy status. You know what I mean? I wouldn't let this be your first try. Let's see if you really got the party boy out of you, the Playboy out of you. This ain't it. This ain't. I wouldn't try that. But
Neither one of them.
Um,
Neither one of them either go to clubs. Put it this way: when they get married or when they get together, I think the club life for both of them needs to stop.
oh
He
yeah,
shouldn't.
yeah.
He shouldn't go
Cause
to
he
any
got
club.
cause side note, he got too excited when that stripper came in there. He was like, "Ooh, yes, this is my habitat. Run me my ones so I can make it rain in here."
Oh, he made it rain. He made it rain. And then he wanted to
Oh,
be part of this.
he made it rain. He made it jiggle. He made it pop. He, he was all up in between, behind. I was like, "Sir,
He wanted
calm
to be.
down."
He wanted to be part of the show. And this is what he said that really caught my eye. I don't know if you guys caught it. He said, "I want a wife who goes to a club like this with me." Right? So you're still trying to have your cake and eat it too. There's not too, and the guys, even the other guy said it, not too many wives that are going to hang out at the strip club with their husband while he's dropping ones on some other girl. There are some out there, but not too many. If y'all in the chat and if you and your husband go to the strip club to each other, let me know. All right, but it's not too many women that does that with their husband. They go to the strip club and let him drop ones with him. Not saying you let your husband go by himself, but with him, y'all together in the same strip club while he's dropping ones on this stripper. So that's what he's looking for, a wife that goes with him. I don't think Katina's that type of girl because she said it. She doesn't do that party life anymore.
Right. Right. Oh, who has slapped the strippers behind with him? Yeah, no. So still, like I said, just a little bit about Katina. Her parents were divorced when she was a baby. Her father was incarcerated until she was an adult, so she really didn't have that father-daughter relationship, and she had to learn on her own how to be in a relationship by trial and error, kind of like with Olajuwon, and that's why he has this ideal.
Right.
His parents weren't together. And she says she's at the point where she just wants to be at peace. She wants a committed man. She hasn't been in love in so long. She hasn't had a relationship for 3 years. And the one thing that she was telling her friends is like, I've had to control my feelings. So I don't get excited too fast, when it comes to a guy. I don't be like, oh yeah, because I've been let down so much. And so she says, her friend tells her, this is a different process. You're going to have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And that's kind of touchy with Olajuwon. We'll see, but they might surprise us. I don't know.
They might surprise us, but I mean, to be vulnerable with a person who is, I don't want to say he's manipulative as yet, because we haven't seen any all that year there, but for you to be a cheater, there has to be some manipulation there. All right, for you to be a cheater, you have to take advantage of the person you're with, or think you can take advantage of the person you're with, or you think the person that you're with is stupid while you out there cheating. So hopefully he is a reformed cheater. I'm not saying once a cheater, always a cheater. He said he has worked on himself. So right now, at this moment, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he is going to be what he said he's going to be, a good husband. But I still got some reservations.
I mean, shoot, in the previews, he did cut his mohawk. I don't know when he's he making changes as the show goes on.
Right. So I got my reservations in the back of my mind on Olajuwon and how that's going to play out. I hope I am wrong, because I love to see black love, but I think I got some reservation right there.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I got something in my eye. So next, let's go to Noi and Steve, and I gotta say this because we watched the matching special a little bit, but we didn't get we watched it, but when they pulled up Noi and Steve on this episode, I was like, okay, so she's quietly noisy. I was like, that's interesting, and we're about to get into that. And so Steve is Mr. Free Spirit, but I'm gonna talk about Noi first. Matter of fact,
go ahead.
So she was super anxious to tell her friends. She said, some may not be very supportive because they're very protective of her. And so she meets with her friends, Sasha, Sammy, Pavitra, and Supraja.
Yeah, you get that right.
I think I did say it right. And so she tells them that she got matched, and they're like, oh wow, that's great. She said, I'm kind of freaking out. And it's like, wow, okay, this is really happening. But where the noisy comes in, it's like, she's really cool and mild mannered, and all the experts liked her. It's really nice. She comes from an immigrant family. They came from Laos. They were in an immigrant camp at one point. Her parents, they had to struggle coming out of their camp and coming into the United States, and they're like the prime example for her. That's what she's looking for in a marriage. Even though they had rough times, they still made it through. And so she's just a real cool, calm, mild mannered type person. But she says, I got an alter ego, and her name is Noisy. Noizy. And she says Noisy likes to dance. Noisy likes to wear wigs. Noisy likes to be silly and goofy. Completely different from Noi.
This is the episode. This is the season of alter egos, because everybody has one. Now I like hers because she parties, she has fun. Even when you saw her at the Bachelorette party, she was enjoying. She could, she was all by herself doing her thing, and if nobody else was in the room, she was gonna have a good time. And you want somebody like that. I think Steve needs somebody like that, who wants to have a good time, who always sees good in a lot of things. And hopefully he knows that he's getting somebody who's who's fun, loving, want to have a good time, and who enjoys life. She seemed like Noi enjoys life, and I think that's the great thing about it.
And that's one of the reasons why they got matched, because Steve enjoys life too. He's gone through something. We're about to get to him in a minute, but matter of fact, I'm actually finished with Noi, so we can get to Steve. That's his thing. So we learned in the matching special that somebody said in the comments, Steve no jobs. Steve does not have a job, but it's not of his it wasn't his fault, but
he didn't rush back to get one.
Right. I was saying he hasn't changed it since, with COVID and everything and jobs closing and layoffs or whatever. He got laid off from his job. And so after he got laid off, he was just like, I'm just going to take this time to do some things for me and travel and go about sorry. And do just explore. And he went up all the way down the East Coast, as far as Florida, just having himself a good time or whatever. And so he also calls himself the Funkle. He's got lots of nieces and nephews. He's got a whole lot of family, and he's the fun uncle. He wants to have kids of his own, so his siblings can do the same that he does with his nieces and nephews with them. But he talks to his brothers Dan and Jeff, his sister-in-law and his cousin Laura and Katie, and then his parents Mary and James, and then his sister Jenny was there too. And so he said his main thing is, my mom's nickname is Worry. So I don't know how she's going to respond. And she was in full out tears. Like, oh, you're the baby. Oh, you're getting married. I didn't expect it to be this way. Oh, I was like, wow, Mom, okay. Calm down.
Yeah, but I think, with him, to being a funkle or whatever you want to call it, he has a lot of fun in life. I mean, a smart guy, has money, a little bit of money saved up. But I think the job issue is going to be a big issue. Even though he is an engineer. So if he wants to go back and get a job, he can.
He's
right?
No engineer. He's a sales engineer.
Sales engineer. Well, sales engineer, right? So he's in sales.
I don't know what that is.
Me neither. So he's a sales engineer, which sounds like he can go get a job, whatever, has money. And so to me, that would be a big issue. First of all, I'm like this, be honest. Why did they even marry somebody who didn't have a job? Didn't they learn this from Michael, right? From the other season, in the DC season, that, a dude who don't have a job on this show really don't work out well, right? Because
the thing about it is, he told Pastor Cal, like you said, it's not that I can't get a job. I can get a job, no problem. And he was like, and I don't have an issue if I have to do that. You know, I'm just. He said he was just at the point right now he's trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. A sales engineer is someone who sells complex scientific and technological products or services to businesses. Awesome.
Got it. Appreciate it.
So he's a salesman.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, salespeople make a lot of money. I mean, I'm not
Oh,
knocking
yeah.
sales. I'm not knocking sales at all. But right now, he has no income, and so you're
Right.
getting married, and you're marrying a person where you don't have any income. You don't have anything to deal with or anything to bring to the table. So that conversation has to be had. That discussion has to be had. So you got to understand. They got to understand what's going on here.
I heard Biggie said UPS is hiring.
Hey, dog. Hey, I don't knock UPS. UPS, I work there all my
Oh no,
time.
I'm not saying. No,
Oh.
somebody said in the comments I could get a job at McDonald's, no problem. Right? Yeah, and UPS is always hiring.
UPS is always hiring. Trust me, I know. I used to work for them years and years ago.
He did.
UPS is in college. UPS is always hiring. You can unload them trucks or load them. Trust me, it's there.
They got a good weight loss plan.
Being in them trucks, I dropped about 30 pounds. But anyway, let's digress. Not about me. Let's get back to the show.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that his family talked about. It's like, what are you gonna say when are you gonna tell her you don't have a job? What you gonna say? And he was like, I'm gonna tell her I was a sales engineer, but I did a lot of traveling and I do freelance work. And so, I'm planning to get more into my career. That's how you explain it. And obviously, like you said, Glenn, he obviously has some money. He don't look like he no dummy, when it came, and they didn't bring that up. So obviously he has some kind of savings or something. He's been fairly, I'm going to, make that assumption. He's been wise with his money. Yeah, because if he can go those months without working, he got something.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bum, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have a work ethic. I think he's trying to find his way, and I think this is a good opportunity because let's be honest, when you're on this Married at First Sight show, unless he has no rent or he like Matt, they're paying for majority of your stuff. You might have to pay for your groceries, but the apartment is taken care of and all that stuff. And we don't know what his financial status is, so he may be like a Jose who's debt free. We don't know yet. You don't know as yet, so he may be able to have a couple months off that he can maintain not having a job. But I'm just saying, coming into this, not knowing a stranger, not knowing the person, for them to tell you from day one, I don't have a job, right? To me, that's kind of leery. It's not like y'all dating. Now, we're married here, and you don't have a job or a career. Let's say a career or in a stable income. Let me put this thing, because he does freelance. Freelance work can be lucrative, but there's highs and lows. Same thing with any other, sales job. You have your highs and you have your lows. So you have some months are great, some months are not so great. So you have someone who has a steady income who's looking for that, then you may have an issue there. So we don't know how Noi is as of yet, but I think that will become an issue with them of this income situation.
Right. But we'll see. But so far, I like, out of all of the couples, I kind of like that match. I think that's really a good match. See it.
Yeah, I think that's a good match as of right now. Just surface level, that's a good match. We'll give all our predictions after we see all the weddings. We'll give our predictions after all the weddings, but I think right now this is a good match.
Yeah. All right. So then we got let's see, Jasmina and Michael. Yeah. This is Mr. Hamsugly. Oh yeah. I'll have to explain that in a minute, but anyway. So we see Jasmina. She goes to talk to her family. Now, I was so thrown off by this. Mm-hmm. It's a whole, I love it. But I was like, whew, that's a lot to follow. Okay, so when she first comes in and talk to her family, we see a lady that says her mom, Kimberly, and then her stepfather, Kingsley. And then her sister, Shanice, is there. Mm-hmm. Shawnice is there, and then I think it was another sister there. Well, it was a younger person.
Yeah, younger girl
That
there.
wasn't her sister. Well, I don't think so. Probably a niece, but it was somebody else at the table. And so she tells them, you know, uh, that she's going to get married, and her mom automatically is like, "What?"
And
I
then
mean,
it goes.
she's stuck. She's like,
Then it's crickets, right? Because it's crickets. Nobody's excited for it. Everybody's crickets, and they want to know what in the world have you gotten yourself into. And we find out later on the after party that her mom, like, when the cameras were away, she was like, "What the f word? What's going on?" Right?
right,
You're like, "What? What's going on here? Why are you doing this?" Basically, if you want to do it, that's fine, but we're not. It is what it is. Basically, we don't support. They're shocked. They're shocked. They didn't know that it would get this far.
right, right. And so, before I get into that part, what we find out background as far as Jasmina is that she says she's single. It's not her, it's been them, because she's been she's serious. She thinks her seriousness kind of scares guys away. They're not ready to settle down. And she's the one, she said she had one guy that had a baby behind her back. And then she had one guy that she was dating that when they were together, he wasn't ready to be serious when she was. And so then when he was ready to be serious, she was like, "I'm over it."
Yeah.
Like, it's too late now.
He took too long. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest
Yeah.
issues. When you're dealing with women, sometimes it has to be in the right moment, has to be in the right season, and you got to be feeling it when they're feeling it. When you miss that moment, and you have turned people off because you're as a guy, you're dragging your feet, you're taking your time, you moving your pace to be with this person. Come on, I don't think engagement should last 5 or 6 years. Within 5 or 6 years that you want to marry this person. I mean, I think
Right.
within a year and a half to 2 years, if y'all together, you should be asking this person to marry you. Again, if he's getting the milk, the cow, and everything for free, and no commitment, I mean, he's gonna take that if that type of dude. But again, if you're into 5 or 6 years of he's dating me and all that, man, bump that. Y'all should be married by this time.
Right. Excuse me. So she said to her, marriage is not a joke. She hasn't really had a lot of successful marriages around her, and that's when we get into her background. She is one of 9 children. She's the third oldest. She said there's all girls and one boy. I'm sorry. I'm reading these comments. Oh my gosh. Um yeah. And she said she's got a lot of siblings, but she doesn't know all of them.
Right.
And she said at 2 years old, her biological mom walked out on them, her and her youngest sister. Her and her younger sister. And her dad remarried. And so the mom, Kimberly, that we see is not her birth mom, it's her stepmother, who eventually her and the dad got divorced and he went back to Jamaica, but they didn't want to go. So she was like, "Well, can you adopt us?" And she did. And so she's like, "This is the mom I know. I don't know my mom like this. She is the best person to me. And that's who my mom is." And I think that is just awesome. That somebody would take somebody else's children and raise them as their own. That is just awesome to me.
Yeah, I think that's always a great part when you have what we call, and where we know people who have bonus dads and bonus moms, as we call it, because it brings somebody else into your relationship that didn't really birth you, but yet they're willing to take care of you. They're willing to treat you right. They're willing to love you. They're willing to nurture you and take care of you, even though you didn't come from them. And I think that's great to have that support, even when your natural or biological parents don't want to take care of you. And I think when you need that in family, I think even in this day and age, 2022 or 2021, whatever you want to say, I still think it takes 2 parents to raise children. I think it's 2 parents who are committed, whether it's your biological parents, whether it's the guy next door who'll be your dad or your uncle. But I think it still takes a man and a woman, and some people dealing with that to enhance to you to get both parts where you at. Or people who are committed in relationships to raise children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and yeah, so I was thinking this was the dress thing, but she did have her sister Amber there too.
Yeah.
And so they talked to her about, have you lived with men before? She said, I live with men, but like as roommates, not as a boyfriend. And so her mom just talked to her about being optimistic. About no, the mom said, I'm trying to be optimistic, but in the end, like I don't know this dude. He's a stranger to me, and I'm gonna, keep my eye on him. Because she said I don't want Jasmina hurt. And so yeah.
Jasmina don't want Jasmine and her. I mean, again, they're casting women who've been through, and I want to say they've been through a lot of issues, right? She's been hurt. I mean, it can work out. We know that Amani, go back to Amani and Woody. Amani had a relationship where the guy that she was with for a long time had a child. So it depends on what you come in with. Jasmine, if she comes in with baggage and she's been hurt and she all these issues, Michael may have to fight some of these things, or she's really gonna have to drop some of these baggage to make this relationship go and work what it is. And so I think when you look at Married at First Sight, I think they look for some things to give drama, and to have things for us to discuss, to talk about. But I think hopefully she can get past some of her drama and the baggage of having somebody have a baby on her, having somebody who dragged their feet. And I hope Michael is more open to listening to her and being compassionate to her, and not being, as we see he is, what we saw with him with Pastor Cal, the real seriousness, the serious side of him. He needs to show that fun side, which we saw a little bit at the Bachelor Party when he was dancing and loving, and we even saw that his family say he could be that side. That's what she needs to get from day one to be able to trust Michael, is that compassion, that love, and that fun side, and not the seriousness that he has displayed thus far.
Yeah. So let's get to Michael. Michael's got a big family as well. He talks to his sisters, and so he's got his sisters Sathina, Claire, Pamela, Yamina, and he was like, yeah, what if I decided to pull out of this thing? I've been doing the Married at First Sight thing. And they were like, why would you pull out? This gonna be good for you. We're excited for you. They might find you somebody. And he was like, okay, so I didn't pull out, I got matched. And they were like hype, like, yes, we're so happy for you, Mike. Oh my gosh, because they really love their brother. I got that from this whole episode, this whole 3 hours. When they showed them, I was like, they really love their brother, and that is awesome.
It is awesome, man. To have your siblings really cheer you on and really support you, I think that's a great thing. I think everybody wants that. But sometimes when you have families that close, I just hope they don't get involved with any mess that they may.
Yeah, I was gonna say it can't get in the way.
Yeah, it can't get in the way. So we don't want it to be. I don't want to say we didn't see too much of it. Well, the girl from last season, her and Hurricane K. What's her name? Michaela's family got a little bit involved with with her and Zach situation.
Well, she involved them.
Well, she involved them. So we don't want to see too much of that. And Zach brothers got involved a little bit too that we didn't see. So you want family to be supportive, but you don't want them to be too much involved, and want them to be able to stand on the outside and let you work your own thing out.
Yeah. One thing about Michael, he said that he thought at this age he'd at least have one child at this age, and he said normally in dating, his problem is that he has lacked patience, and somebody else was like this on last season, so it was like the slightest thing. Yeah.
Johnny said Johnny last season was like he had over 100 dates, and if she messed up this, or she didn't pour him water, or she didn't tie her shoe right, or whatever, if the wind blew to the left, he was getting rid of her. And that's the way Michael is. Michael is if she does something wrong, he usually, if she squeezed the toothpaste from the middle instead of from the bottom, he cut her.
Yeah, when the guys get together, they joke with him about that. All kind of little stuff. They were like, oh no, she breathed wrong. Gotta cut her. So that was his thing, is why he hasn't been in a relationship, is because he really didn't give it a chance. It was like kind of, almost like bow to, self and Johnny self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
And so the one thing about Michael, so his father passed when he was 11 or 12. He had a brother that got shot and killed. His mom passed when he was 20 and in college. She passed from breast cancer. And so, he was like, it really took him to a dark place. And when he's had so much loss, he said, it's been hard for him to let people in. And so he's been a lone wolf. It's been hard for him to open up. And he needs more time to process. And he's gonna have to give himself fully to the process. Like we said, in relationships, he's amplified people's the negativities. But he said, I'm ready to commit. To really commit. And his family, his sisters are very supportive. They called his brother on the phone, and his brother was like, okay, yeah. He said, are you ready? And he says, yeah. So his brother said, well, the one thing with you is you're going to have to work on compromise. You're going to have to work on compromise. And he was like, I haven't seen enough of you compromising. I haven't seen enough of that in Michael. And so Michael even says in his vignette, that's something that he's nervous about and that's new to him. I'm like, bro, what? You're nervous about having to compromise? That is not good.
Not going into a marriage. Let's be honest. Going into a marriage, you have to be in, let's say, a relationship. But in this case, we're talking about marriage. Going into a marriage, you have to be willing to compromise. Again, you come from two different backgrounds. I come from a certain background. You come from a different background. Coming into this relationship, we're going to have to compromise. You can't be so strenuous. We saw this. We jumped to that last season. We saw this with Jose, right? It didn't work out when you just this, and this. You have to be able to compromise coming into relationships, and you're not going to always get your way when it comes to a relationship, all right? But it's got to be able to work what's best for your family, your company, or when I say company, what's best for your relationship, what's best for your marriage. And I say company because I always look at marriages as two companies merging together for a common good. And so we have two big people merging together for a common good. And so they're gonna have to be some compromise between husband and wife. For those who are religious, you're gonna have to be able to submit one to another, not just the wife submitting, just not the husband submitting, but us both submitting to one another and having compromise with one another so we can grow as a family. Because at the end of the day, we are family. When you're husband and wife, but you're still a family, and we want the family to be able to grow. And that's the way Michael has to look at it. That it is not just going to be his way. All right, this the theme for the day. This 1940 or 1950 thinking has to change in 2021 slash 2022. It has to be a willingness for both company or both people to compromise together and grow together as a family. And I think Vincent had to learn that with Brianna. If you go back to relationships.
And I like the example that you gave, because the thing about when companies merge, you might have been the president at the other company, but when you come into the other company, you're not necessarily going to be the president. You might be the vice president. You might be the president, shared president with somebody else. You know what I mean? But even I'm concerned because when he said that, compromise is new to him, I'm like, even just in life, period. When you deal with people, period. Let's get outside your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance. How do you deal with people when you don't know how to compromise? You gotta be able to let go a little bit. It can't be your way or the highway all the time. You're not always right. You're not always the smartest person in the room. You don't always know what's best. And Jasmina ain't no dummy.
Oh no, by no means.
He gonna have that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem with them.
Yeah, you can't insult her intelligence. She's not one that she's gonna let you insult her intelligence as well. She seems like she's a strong-willed woman. So at the end of the day, she's going to be they're gonna have I think I see them bumping heads. I think it can work out, but I do see them bumping heads a little bit. His mindset's gonna have to change, and I think they're gonna have to do a lot of work with Pastor Cal, Viviana, or Dr. Pepper, because if he's coming into this mindset, as one of the guys in the chat, or one of the people in the chat says, with a lot of baggage, somebody's gonna have to drop baggage to embrace themselves. The thing I did one day, When I've had baggage, you have baggage. We can't embrace because our baggage is getting in the way. So somebody's gonna have to drop their baggage and be able to embrace the other one. So it's gonna happen sooner or later.
Yeah. And so I'm want to go to this Ham Sugly comment. So there's a gospel singer, Jermaine Dolly. I'm gonna give him give him credit. He said it. He called himself Ham Sugly. So you look at them. Sometimes they look handsome. Sometimes they look ugly. It's a combination of Ham Sugly. So for me, Michael is like Ham Sugly. I like his smile. I feel like he could bring the beard down off his cheeks some, kind of line that up a little bit different. But regular, I was looking at him like, So I'm concerned that she might not be attracted to him either. I was concerned about that with Lindsey and Mark. I'm concerned about that with the last couple, Alyssa and Chris as well. I don't know. I be thinking they do this stuff on purpose. They did not learn from Chris Williams II. He said all these beautiful queens, and this what you bring me. So I'm hoping we won't have that issue, but yeah, I'm curious again, going to the compromising thing. I'm curious to see them in a situation where he has like, what kind of things is it that might be a rub where he has a problem compromising? That's I'm curious to know, what is it, something simple like, I want Chinese, I don't care if you don't eat Chinese, I want to eat Chinese food. I'm just curious to see how deep the things are that they deal with that he has a problem with compromise. I'm curious to see that. So
yeah, I think it has to be a little give and take, and so she seems like she's strong-willed, so it has to be again a give and take. Some people are gonna have to give in and let this thing slide and work together.
And I wanted to throw this in there too, because somebody mentioned this too. I noticed that bald spot. I noticed that bald spot. I was like, where did that come from? It almost kind of looked like Miles, but Miles was the little gray thing. It's not bald. It kind of looked bald, but it wasn't. But I'm pretty sure Michael's was bald. Yeah.
Hey, LeBron James got a bald spot, so let it ride. Let him ride.
As our daughter would say, so he can't get the 360 waves. He got 280.
Yeah, can't get 360, so he got a little something that's there. So
all right. So for the last couple, we got Chris and Alyssa. And let's see, Chris meets with his mom. That's the only person he meets with. And he said, I told my mom a lie. I told her that I was doing a show related to my real estate company. And so when I meet with her to tell her I'm getting married, she don't know nothing. So I'm just going to snatch the chair from up under her. She going to be like, what? And so she did. She was like, so I'm not really doing a show about real estate. I see. Kathy, yes. Ham Sugly. My favorite. That's my favorite word. But anyway, Chris meets with his mom, and he was like, yeah, so I'm not really doing a real estate show. It's actually Married at First Sight, and I'm getting married. I don't. She's like, to who? He was like, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know who it is. And she was like, are you crazy? And he was like, maybe I am a little bit, but he talks about the fact that he's a serial monogamous person. He stays with girls for a long time, probably longer than he should.
Yeah, what he said was he stays in a relationship like 3-year relationship, 2.5-year relationship, a 5-year relationship. He's been in relationships a long time, which never go to marriage. Again, I said it a few minutes ago. If you're in those type of relationship where it's going to get to 3, 4, 5 years and you haven't married a person, there's a problem there. What are we doing here? What are you doing here? Right. You're wasting somebody's time if it's not going to marriage. That's one of the reasons that you get in relationships. So he has wasted people's time and people has wasted his time. And so he had to get on a show like this in order to fulfill what he wanted to fulfill, which is marriage.
Yeah. He talked about how he's invigorated by his hobbies and by life. He plays with a flying disc association, and he's actually like the vice president or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey,
But
that's
he
a
really
good game.
likes
We never
to
played.
say what?
Playing golf is disc golf. All right,
Mm-hmm.
it's a good game. You can play all over parks.
Oh,
It's
I
a
thought you
very.
said you played it.
I have.
Oh, when you was hanging out with some of those friends.
Yeah, we don't hang out with some of those friends. I'll show you how to play one day.
But Chris comes from a single mom household. And so he's kind of had a deep drive to be successful. He's been successful in real estate, and now he wants to be successful in marriage. And his problem is he's just been bad at picking. And he said he wants to get married because he's been missing his default person, his best friend, that person that he can come home to and talk to and be like, oh, I was this and that, and do things with. And his mom is nervous because she's like, the first day that you'll meet her is going to be at the wedding. Like, I'm I don't know about this person, kind of like Jasmina's mom was. He said he's nervous and excited at the same time, and he's getting into his married at first sight, because somewhere in between the meeting the person and getting to the marriage part, he said, I want to skip all those steps because I be lingering there too long. I'm so I'm gonna let somebody else pick it for me.
Problem that I have with what he said, he just wants a companion. I mean, he wants a buddy. He wants somebody to hang out with. None of that says marriage to me. What he described or what he said was not marriage. It's just, hey, I want somebody. I'm tired of being alone. I just want somebody to hang out with and to kick it with, to share information with. Not somebody to love, to cherish, to take care of, to hold, and to have a relationship with. He just wants somebody that you be able to share information with. I mean, so hopefully him and Alyssa can get into that part where they love each other. He realize it's much more than just the conversing back and forth, but it's going to take a little bit much more work than what I think that he's willing to put in right now. Because
Yeah.
I go back to this. He was in these long-term relationships for a reason. They didn't turn to marriage for a reason. Whether it was the other person or whether it was him, whatever reason that these relationships did not go into marriage is going to rear its head in the relationship with him and Alyssa.
Yeah. And so when Alyssa talks to her family, like that, it was really fast. It was her mom there, her friends Taylor and Caitlin, and what we find out about Alyssa is that she's a social media person, but she's also she does rescue dogs. She does rescue dog stuff. And she was like, I never really liked country music, but now I'm a country girl. I do a lot of horseback riding and all that kind of stuff. And so she absolutely, it doesn't look like that's her. It doesn't look like that's her. So she was basically like, it's people wouldn't expect me to be like this, especially being a social media person. And so for that reason, I think her and Chris will match more than I thought they would at first, based on her looks and her being a social media person. And then when she was at the bachelorette party too, she kind of stayed in her corner. She was, again, to be a social media person, she was quite antisocial. But I think that's like the epitome of the era that we're in. So a lot of social media people, a lot of people, gosh, I mean, we're literally on social media now.
I'm a social media. Hold up, I'm a social media person. I run multiple social media accounts. So, but
no, just what I was going to say is that you find people are more so out of their normal personality. You see that a lot in social media now. People are more outside of their normal personality on social media than they would be in person. It's a lot of people that are quiet and real introverted naturally that come out more in social media. So
which is true, but I think that just wasn't her environment. I think the environment,
right.
the bachelorette party, the stripper, and I mean The transgender stripper.
That's
I don't
what.
know,
Hold on.
cross-dresser, the cross-dresser.
That was the problem that I had. Remember, I said that to you last night.
Yeah.
I said, now they pulled this homemade stripper out for the guys, but at least it's a stripper. And in the meantime, the females got drag queens. Who picked this? Who picked it?
I don't know. I have no idea, but they didn't get it real. They had a good time, but this wasn't. I mean, I don't know if she was faking, but this wasn't her cup of tea. Isn't what she liked. To the point where we saw on the after party that Lindsey was talking about her and her friends heard Lindsey talking about her, and to the point where Alyssa that night on social media blocked Lindsey from everything. They group chat. As a matter of fact, the girls had a group chat by the time they left the bachelorette party, and by that morning, Lindsey was already blocked from Alyssa. So she is not her cup of tea, and not what she likes. But maybe her and Chris will work out. Maybe she'll be able to help him with his real estate, whatever case may be. I think she has a good heart, but for animals, let's see if she has a good heart for people. And with Chris, and if because let's be honest, she's real patient with animals and taking care of them and rescuing them. Can she do that with a person? And I say that because if you go back to look at Virginia and Eric, Virginia had a heart for her animals and her dogs, but really didn't have a heart and care for Eric too much. So you can be too far into your animals, into your rescue and all this other stuff that you forget that you're dealing with a human being and a person. So hopefully her and Chris can get on the same page. And there's only time to tell. But let's be honest, people who name Chris don't work well on the shows.
I don't say that.
Chris, think about it. I want you to be honest. Chris, Michaels, and Zach's don't do well on
pigeonhole. We don't want to pigeonhole people.
I'm not pigeonholing anybody. I'm not pigeonholing anybody. I'm going by facts. If your name is Chris, Michael, or Zach, you don't do very well on Married at First Sight.
Well, Kate's and Katie's don't do very well either.
That is correct. But definitely Chris, Michaels, and Zach's don't do very well on Married at First Sight.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think I just wanted to say this about Alyssa. It was somebody else that at the bachelorette party that was just like, this is just not my cup of tea. I don't think it's so much that they're being anti. It's just like that's just not how they roll, So I'm not mad at her, but I think she could have been, we're here together because we're in this experiment together. We're the ones that are getting married at first sight. So, and they pretty much are going to be doing, they're going to be living with their spouses, but like they're going to be relating and dealing with each other. So you might as well start somewhere. But like Jasmina said on the after party, she said the problem was Lindsey, which I think is going to be an issue this whole season, was running her daggone mouth and people overheard it and it got back to Alyssa. And Alyssa's like, I'm not going to fake with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that too. Like, let's not play. You talked about me. So, you don't even know me. So I don't care to get to know you. So I'm not mad at Alyssa for that. So
no, I'm not mad at her.
But I'm concerned that she might not be attracted to Chris. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not mad that she cut Lindsey off real quick. Maybe we'll see something else later on in the season. I just hope her and Chris will be able to work out and to be able to converse on some issues. I think she has some other issues. I think he has some issues. I'm just want to be able to see if they can work those issues out and have a good relationship.
Yeah,
we'll see. I have to see a little bit more. I really don't like giving my predictions till after the honeymoon because I see how people interact and act off the honeymoon. Right now, you can hope for 5 for 5, which I don't think ever going to happen on this show. I don't think we ever get a 5 for 5, right?
We get 5 for 5, but not stay together 5 for 5.
Yeah, I don't think you ever get 5 that people stay together on Married at First Sight. It's not built for that. I think if you ever do get 5 for 5, the show should end right then and there, right? I think if you ever get 5, if you ever get 5 couples right, they need to stop the show. All right, but we'll see there. I think the couples that we did, Mark the Shark, I think Lindsey is just too much for him. I can talk about this couple right now because they got married already, and he's already in that 15, 20 minute. If you go back to when she was talking to him, he was like, wow, she's already a lot, right? They haven't even gotten into any seriousness. It was just the fact that they were right there. And so she's a lot. And he's going to have patience of a saint. Olajuwon and Katina, I'm gonna see how they interact after the wedding and see how they go together. Jasmine and Michael, I got some reservation on them right now. I have to see a little bit more of them. Noi and Steve, gonna see how they play out, and as well as Chris and Alyssa. So I have some weeks to wait. By them only giving us one wedding in 3 hours, you can't. What else can you say about it? You give the backdrop. They gave us backstory after backstory after backstory from the working up to where we at right now. So it's like we almost know these people a little bit. So
right. And so, like I said, the only other thing we saw them picking out their attire, their wedding attire. We saw the bachelor and bachelorette parties. They did have the typical conversation about who's going to consummate the marriage. Most of the ladies said no. Noi was like, I mean, it might be. A lot of the ladies said Noi would be the first. She was like, I don't know what kind of vibe I'm giving y'all already that would make you say that, but okay. The guys were like, if the energy is there. Mark jokes about, oh yeah, we're gonna have kids in 8 weeks. Olajuwon says, he's been such a sex driven person before that's not his focus. His main focus now is to really get to know a person. And I think, again, if he's done it before, but if this your first time trying it, I don't know. But he's got the right idea. He's got the right idea.
I have no problem with him. He's saying all the right things, right?
Right.
Again, saying all the right things and doing all the right things are totally two different things. He is saying all the right things until he sees what his wife looks like, right? Let's be honest. He's saying all the right things until he sees Katina, right? Now, he wants to slow roll it. He wants to walk it slow. He wants to take his time. But when he see her in that wedding dress and when he see and spend time with her and he talks to her, I think the idea of him waiting for this relationship to proceed, to go out, I will say this. By the time they leave the honeymoon, they probably have already consummated their marriage, those two. I'm going to say those two consummated their marriage by the time they leave the honeymoon.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. But that's all I got.
Hey, let us know what you thought of this 3-hour episode. Is it too much? I think it's too much. 3 hours and one wedding, to me, is too much. Give me 3 hours and all 5 weddings and then jump to the honeymoon. I think that would be even better. I think 3 hours for this is too much. And then if you watch the after party, that's 4 hours of Married at First Sight. That's a lot. That, to me, as a fan, as a person who watch it and as a review it, that's a lot. And not to get everything that we want to get, and only got one wedding out of it. Let us know which couple do you like so far. Which pairing do you like so far, just based off what you saw? Do you like Steve and Noi, Olajuwon and Katina, Jasmine and Michael, Chris and Alyssa, and then Mark and Lindsey? Let us know which couple that you think.
Mark the Shock.
Mark and Lindsey. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. I know some of you guys want to know why we are not in different rooms. Jac's not feeling well right now, but she still was a trooper and was willing to do this review with me. So I have to leave here and go take care of her. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I do a very good job of taking care of you. So it is what we. Oh my goodness. Are you gonna put me out here like that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, just make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and we'll catch you guys a little bit later.
I got some witnesses from Mount Calvary in the chat section that they can testify whether he take care of me.
Yeah, my sister-in-law can attest that I do take care of you. I'm not gonna say who it is, but when she leaves that comment, she can attest that when you're not feeling well, I do take care of you. So, but nonetheless, hey, watch out for more videos. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell notification. Check out this week for our Ready to Love review as we talk about the season finale of Ready to Love. So check that out as well. So hit the subscribe button and bell notification. See you next week.
Bye.